There we go. We're live. Hi,
Yay.
everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Love Speaks Love. And Love Speaks Love is a platform for a chat or for activations to share wisdom and knowledge. And quite often it's people that do light language. It hasn't been a prerequisite of the show, but it does seem to work that way. So my beautiful guest today is Kristin. Is it Vambeset? Is that how I pronounce your surname?
Yeah, Vambeset.
Vambeset, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. And apologies, everybody, that we're late, but we just couldn't stop talking. It was a very, very strong instant connection. So I'm just going to double check, even though it says we're live, I'm just going to check that we are live and share it to a few places as well. Yes, we are. Wonderful. If anyone feels to share, that is always appreciated. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's joining us and who is watching on the replay in the future now. Okay, just open that. Okay, so I'm going to just share it to a couple more places and then, oh, I love when they're in order and it makes it a lot easier. I'm never sure if I can share it to some light language groups. I'll leave it there, I think, for now. So yeah, if anybody feels to share it to any groups that you know that you can share it to without getting into trouble, that is very helpful. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to just start with our little heart-to-heart connect, because one of the reasons for Love Speaks Love and what we're doing today is very much in resonance with this. It's my dream that people will be in their heart space more and living their lives from their heart. So we usually just start Love Speaks Love by bringing our awareness to our heart space in the center of our chest. And if it's helpful for you to place one or both hands on your heart space there, then excuse me, feel free to do that. And let us all breathe in love. Breathing love to our beautiful hearts. And breathing out anything that's preventing you from being in this now moment. Breathing out anything that's stopping you from being in your heart space. Breathing out any worries, any cares, any old programs, any old emotions that your body is ready to let go of. And breathing that love deep into your bodies, deep into every cell. So your body is glowing with love from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And joining my heart with yours, Kristin, and with everybody watching us live or on the replay or on YouTube. Joining all of our hearts together as one, or more accurately, recognizing that they are all together in one unified field of love. So extending that heart awareness out even further now to the heart of Gaia. Breathing Gaia's love into our bodies. And feeling Gaia's appreciation of all of us for all that we are and all that we do. Feeling Gaia's gratitude and her deep, deep love. And connecting in with the New Earth templates and the crystalline grids of energy that emanate out from Gaia's heart. And just calling in the energies of any crystalline frequencies that would be of benefit to you right now. And Gaia holds the energy of everything on the planet in her heart, her diamond octahedron heart. So we can call into our bodies the energy of any nutrients, electrolytes, amino acids, enzymes, anything at all that would be of benefit to our bodies right now. And connecting our hearts, our heart awareness, to the heart of the sun. Feeling that sun energy, that solar energy moving into our bodies. And extending our heart awareness out to Source Creator. So feeling our heart awareness now back in our heart space. Still breathing love. And let us also breathe out love. And opening our eyes whenever we're ready.
Beautiful, thank you.
It always feels so good to do that. It's always really hard to come back. I'm like, can I not just stay here? Can we do a silent chat from here, please?
Oh, we could totally do that. Oh, yeah, it's like really, really grounding in. Beautiful.
So I think it was your first chat with Todd that I felt like I connect with you. And sometimes that happens and I reach out to people and sometimes, life kind of moves on and I forget. And I remember Todd shared one of your YouTube videos and I was drawn to watch. And I was like, I'm sure I know you from somewhere. And I remember the plant behind you with the beautiful flowers. And I was like, yeah, I recall. So we are going to be doing some energy work relating to our heart space a little bit later on. And we were both just sharing our common desire to be out in nature a lot and doing a lot of energy work out in nature, hugging trees, etc. Talking to ourselves out later into the birds
and to the trees and to the animals. Oh yeah, it's amazing. That's such a gift.
Yeah, it truly is. And I was feeling a little bit, I don't know how you're feeling today, but the earlier part of my day until I went out in nature, I was feeling sludgy, I would say, like my energy was sludgy and it was heavy. And we do have the full moon coming up, so it might be, a little bit of shedding of mine, but it felt more than that. Like, I know that frequency was in me as well, but it felt quite collective. And it really was, you know, I came back from being out in nature and felt great, and I'd done an activation by the water, which often, for me, especially when it's quite a forceful activation, it's like sometimes I feel a bit sludgy because of the codes that I'm holding.
Yeah.
And when I've released those, it's like, oh yeah, you know, I feel a bit better now, you know, or a lot better.
Yeah, that combination also with the with the nature and the trees and the groundedness and that strength, and also the moving water, just like really moving it, and the resonance with all the water we have in our bodies.
Yeah,
it's really helpful.
Yeah, it's been one of my, I don't know which I activate more, the land or water. Like it's pretty even, and I sing to the water when I'm out as well, you know.
Yeah.
So when did this kind of journey of light language, when did this start for you, and how did, is it something you've kind of always done, or was it a bit of a progression? How did it start for you?
The light language started very suddenly, like out of the blue. So like when I was a child, I was very open. I could see spirits. I, felt emotions of other people. And I tried to just like fit in and be normal, and really, because I understood that this is not like how everyone else is seeing the world. So I really tried to sort of fit myself into a box, which I basically didn't really fit into, but I did my best. And I will say the last 10-11 years, it's got really, really intense. So in around 2010, 2011, it was really, really intense. Like it was things coming up, and like energies just like on me all the time. I saw things physically. I had to like train myself to see what was actually a spirit and what was a physical being, because it was so similar. And I had a full collapse in 2012, got ill, years in and out of hospital, and I kept just like pushing everything of the energetic part just away, because I was like, yeah, no, don't want to have anything to do with that. Like, what will everybody else think of me? And, all of that. And then I suddenly realized that I keep avoiding places because there's a lot of energy there. And I was living my life in a way where I was just trying to avoid things, because I would get physically really ill, or, it affected me a lot. And then I found out that I have to take a look at this and really get an understanding of what is going on, and get some understanding of my energy field and how to navigate this. And so from the beginning, it was really about me trying to like get my health back, and understand how to deal with energies, and really accepting that this is a part of me. And from that point, it just like every time I was in a place where I was, feeling like, okay, I can see what people refers to as ghosts, and I can, I have these experiences, and like, okay, I accept this, and like I'll come to terms with it, and like bam, and I would see ETs, and then bam, and I would see a craft, and then I would have like one of my guides showing himself in the living room, and so it was just like more and more and more of things happening. And the first time I was channeling, I barely knew what it was. It was a morning I woke up, I couldn't almost move my body, and I got help to like get up from bed, and I didn't understand what was going on at all. But it was all this energy in the body. I understand now that I wasn't able to channel it through. So it was coming in, but I didn't have any understanding of what it was, and I didn't know how to ground it or how to let it come through. And suddenly, like after an hour or so, I started making noises. And my ex, he's that I lived with at the time, he started recording because he understood what was happening. So he just started filming this, and I was, my arms were moving, my hands were moving. I started making noises and some words, and then suddenly, when I popped out of it, I didn't have any, like I was in a full trance state, so I didn't remember anything of what happened, but I was feeling fine. I could just like jump up and like walk on a straight line. And so that was really how it started. So I was just trying to sort of figure out as it was happening, that whole journey. And suddenly one day, I was just it because in the beginning I didn't really have a control of when I came into the trance state. It sort of just happened. So it was a bit of a struggle for a time until I really learned how to navigate it, because I'm so open and I feel things very physically. But suddenly one day I started it. It was all these really weird sounds coming, because normally I would channel in English, but then it was all these sounds and hand movements, and I had barely heard about light language before, and I was like, what kind of language is this? And I didn't understand, and then after some time I understood it was light language. And so there is like one main one that comes through often, but there are also different dialects or different light languages, or whatever label you want to put on it. And that has been for probably 4 or 5 years that I've been channeling light language.
Yeah, thank you. That similar kind of journey really as well. I didn't used to see things, but I think I felt things a lot as a child. But then when I went to look, I couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And I think I closed a lot off, and my heart, when I started being a nurse. So from 18, I went nursing. But I also realized that I was picking up so much energy, because I think a lot of us are kind of born this way. We're born to transmute energy.
Yes.
And in a way, we know how to bring it in, but we don't know, as you say, how to release it.
Yeah.
So when a friend did Reiki on me, and I wasn't really looking for anything at that time, I was quite left brain and didn't believe in any of this stuff. But
Yeah,
then I
can relate.
and I had a Reiki treatment. Was like, oh my God, I could feel the heat, especially around the throat. Like throat and sacral were the two areas that were the most out of balance. And I could feel the energy. There was no denying that energy, because it was tangible. It was and the main thing was how much better I felt at the end of it, because when you've been feeling not that great for so long, you don't know any different. You forget how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
So it's been a bit of a journey, for like really a 20-year journey.
Yeah.
Of releasing pain, because I tended to feel things as pain in my body.
I can relate to that too.
Yeah. And a massive revelation before Christmas. So in the lead up to the solstice, where the energies were just super strong, and so many of us just went into hibernation and didn't really connect with many other people, I had a big breakthrough in that. In the pain, I felt like I'd moved. Like I still have pain and I still get pain, but it's not the same level. And I'd had an injury. Yeah, I'd had an injury when I was 17 as well, that I feel never got a chance to heal, because then I went nursing and put my body into fight flight.
Yeah.
Like this was the breakthrough as well. I've found a way to really put the fight flight freeze program into neutral when it's not needed. I thought it was off, but I had this huge realization that it was always just on slightly, because it had been so on for so long.
Yeah.
So that, and it's almost like in doing that, a lot of the deeper pain that was still stuck in the muscles, because everything was on guard. You know, when you're nursing, patients can go off. You're always ready. And I think a lot of us, even people who aren't nurses, I think just life puts you in that ready for the threat kind of mode.
Yeah.
So to learn to switch that off, it's like all the places where the pain was still stuck are starting to open now as well, and release that deeper stuff. Does this make sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. That must feel amazing.
Mm.
You must feel like you're reborn.
Absolutely. And it's even my chiropractor could feel a difference when she was, because I said to her, says something weird is going on in my body. It's like my pain body has shifted, and I think she's probably dug the deepest that she'd ever dug, because I was quite sore the next day. But I could feel her pressure. Like, it's not, your body needs to know when it's in pain.
Yeah.
If you're touching something burning, you need to know that that's not the right thing to do.
Exactly.
But it was like I could feel the pain, but it's like an extra charge that normally comes in didn't
Yeah.
come in. So the pain has shifted. My most severe pain, I would say, has gone from a 10 to an 8. So even when I have pain, but my body's still the same. It's still very tense in lots of ways.
Yeah.
So physically it feels the same, but the pain is much less.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think that whole sort of contracted state the body goes into, that's really like what you were talking about initially when we started as well, about opening the heart and coming into the heart space. It's that whole difference between being in that contracted space and actually coming from the mind and down to the heart and opening, and from that place the body will start releasing. And it's much easier said than done. But I think that's really a lot of the journey we're on collectively as well.
Yeah,
it is, and it shifts a lot, in the brain and in the whole body when you get to that point. And that's amazing that you had such a shift in December.
Yeah, like I've been, like I say, working on these for 20 years, and that's the biggest shift that I've had. I had some big shifts in 2002.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it's the same numbers, 2020. Like, for me, there's obviously something about the twos. So I think this is going to be a big decade. And 2022 is probably
next year is going to be
like huge. But yeah, that was the biggest shift that I've had in a long, long time. Because I was a mess. When I first started on this journey, I was a mess. I felt like my life force was very, very, very low.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I had aura photos taken at the time when I first started on this, and it was very grey. It was very wishy-washy. Like, you could see colours, but it wasn't like thick, the aura.
Yeah.
And then within a few months, a lot of that grey had gone, and you could see the colours were much more vibrant.
Yeah.
So that was 2002 was a really huge year. But it's a journey. But I think people like yourself and me, it's like we're laying those foundations down, so the people that come behind us, it won't be as much of a journey as it was for us. They can go in, it's like the slipstream, they can go in that slipstream, and it'll be a lot easier.
Yeah. And I also think for me it has been a lot also about expressing who I really am, because that constriction and also of trying to fit in and trying to be, figuring out what is expected and try to fill that sort of role instead of actually listening within and daring to do that, have the courage to listen within and start expressing that, because we are, the way I see it, a big part of why we're here is because we're going to be an expression of our soul frequency. And if we're holding back that expression, of course things will block. And just that, because they were explaining me about this actually yesterday, so it's interesting, it's coming up again now. But this whole thing of like we're trying to fit in, or we're thinking, can I say this, or can I do this, or am I allowed sort of to go in that direction, or will that be weird, or like all those thoughts, instead of actually feeling into what am I being called to express, be free in that expression. Because that's really our channel.
So how long have you been more public about this? And did you start on YouTube? Was that your first?
Yeah. Yes, and that was in April last year. So quite new to being public about my journey. Yes. And that was a big step as well, because I was, one thing was, saying that I was channeling, and many people didn't even know what that was. And starting to open about it to family and to friends and this. But then really being on, like when I was going to start with the YouTube, I was freaking out, like completely. I was so uncomfortable just being on a camera, and because my guides have been telling me, and in channelings, like for a couple of years, that this needs to be shared and it needs to be shared. And then January last year, they started teaching about fear and surrender, codependency, like really things that I could relate to it, but they said it was to be shared. And then when everything happened in March last year, I was like, oh, this is what I've been talking about. Like, oh my God, I understand now. And I really felt that I need to. And I have some friends that were really, really supporting me and kicking me in the butt when I needed that. But I was sitting there with my phone in front of me, and I was like, okay, push play. And I was like, no, this is so weird. And I felt like this little, schoolgirl having the first exam. So it was really, exploding my comfort zone. But just like coming over that first hurdle, and it gets more comfortable and more natural. Yeah. And it's also, all about the information coming in and the energy coming through. First of all, like grounding it and getting it through, but also to let that information come to where it's intended to come to. So that's sort of, part of the responsibility as well, to not just, keep it on a recording on the phone or write it down. It's actually let it go the whole way it's intended to.
Yeah, I totally, absolutely resonate with you. 2018 was when I started putting videos on YouTube, and I would start recording myself doing meditations because I was fairly comfortable with that. But I didn't do them live, and I recorded them. But sometimes many takes. I mean, the thing is about doing lives is that it's out there. I mean, you can stop it and you can delete it, which I've done a few times. But it's weird talking to yourself. Like in this, I love chatting with people.
Yeah.
And I can be myself and natural. But it's when you're talking to yourself, because I'm quite happy with silence. I don't feel the need to fill space with words, fill silence with words. I actually quite like silence. Yeah. So in a conversation, I'm not really feeling awkward if there's like pauses. But when you're doing a live or you're recording yourself, it doesn't really, sometimes it's appropriate and sometimes it isn't.
Yeah.
And to still be natural when you're really not feeling natural because there's a camera in front of you.
Just seeing yourself there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really strange place to be. But I think so many more people are being called to do it at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. We are complete. Like I felt like literally a hand in my back just pushing me. Like there's no way back. You just go there. You push play as many times as you need to, but like there's no way to do it in another way. So it's just start getting it out there. If anyone watching or listening are in that situation, I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. So just like get out there and start expressing it, because it's needed.
Yeah, I wholeheartely agree. And I don't think we're judged by other people anywhere near as much as we judge ourselves for this either. Right. It's yeah. And sometimes, especially, light language is fine for me to come through. I have no problem whatsoever with light language coming through. But other things, like it's speaking English, that's the tricky bit.
Yeah, and it's like when, for example, if I'm like in a light trance state when I'm channeling, like channeling messages in English, and I record it and then I listen to it and I'm like, how am I going to formulate this like even half the way, you know, that they are formulating it? Like, how can I convey the message in the best way? And I'm like, because it's, you know, sometimes the formulations and the way they are saying it, it's like, you know, it's mind-blowing, and it's like, how little me going to express all of this. But it's really like, I found like what helps me the most is to really tune into the energy and not be so, you know, focused on like the words or the exact sentence I will say. Like, I have listened to the recording and I have gotten the message, and I take the time I need to sort of embody it and get it into my system. And then I sit down, I tune into the energy of the message, because then it's sort of in my system and it helps me formulating it when I do the video. When I do the light language, that's just like, you know, you can just click on and off, and that really feels like you're just having, you know, a shower inside, letting the light language come through. It just feels amazing every time.
Yeah, totally. And just to say that you as a channel, this is something, although you've been doing this since you were a child, this is something that anybody can tap into. It's not, we all have this mechanism inside us. We all have this way of doing it that is across the board. Anybody can do this. And the more you try and do it, the more you make yourself do it, the easier it gets. And sometimes, as you say, we can close off. If we start to get fearful, we can close it off and we can like shut it down a little bit. And get into our heads when we start like trying to work it out logically or whatever. That can kind of like close it. And I'm saying this as a way to help people who want to do this as well. So in that, a question is kind of dropping in of how you do this yourself. I mean, you just alluded to this before. Is there any more that you want to kind of say about that, of how you how to open yourself up as a channel?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things are to really be in the body, because what I see is that a lot of people are like trying to go out somewhere or reach something, or like going into the universe and like trying to get out of the body. But it's really about being inside the body and grounding down. So the information is coming in, and we have this channel. So the way I see it is almost like the physical body is created like around the channel we have, which is, you know, the chakras and the energy channel, and that's where the information comes in. So as we are on the earth, and we are like, there's a reason why we're here. It's really important that we ground in, and that we stay in our body, and that we take this energy and bring it in, like bring it down to your hips, bring it down into your feet, down into the earth, because that's where we can access and dissect information coming in, and really stay in the body, because we don't get much from like keep going out there. So I think just connecting to the breath and being in the body is number one. It really, really is. And then put like that, you put yourself aside. So if I'm going into a channeling, I cannot bring my mind or my thoughts or my identity with me in that. It's sort of like I'm going into a space where I leave all of that outside. And if I find myself like starting to go there or connecting with that, the channeling will stop immediately. It doesn't go together. So it's really just like getting into a place where you're just like shutting off and grounding in and breathing, and feeling the energy, and without any expectation of what is going to come in, because that's a big one as well. And really like start, like for people listening that are really in the beginning of starting to do this, like to start engaging, like first not have any expectation of like I have this question and I'm going to have an answer on this question and it's going to be really specific and it's going to, you know, give me a 1 2 3 or how to do this, but to be open for whatever comes in. But then when you feel an energy, whether, because we all have different ways of feeling it, whether we're hearing something or we're feeling the energy coming in like in a certain energy center, or we're like having visions, or we just, you know, get an understanding of something, to really be open for it being different than what you have heard other people having, and really be open to see how am I actually receiving these messages. And when you feel the energy coming in some way, start engaging with it. And really be in our power, because I also see a lot of people that are giving their power away to the guides or the galactics or the elementals, or just, you know, it's not about giving our power away there either. It's like when we are engaging with a person, really it is like I honor your energy, I honor your field, and I know that I have a sovereign field and I can communicate when I want and I can shut out when I don't want, because that's my choice and I'm standing in my power and in my body, and I can engage. And then I do engage when I feel the energy. So I think like having clarity about these things and really staying grounded and sovereign in our fields, and knowing that we can and be open to really play with it and have fun with it. Yeah, I think that's really important.
Is there anything that you do to kind of maintain the high frequency of it? Because I guess when people are starting out, because for me, I was already connecting to source through the energy work that I was doing. I was already kind of connecting with angels, ascended masters, that kind of thing, and really with source energy. And I feel that I could feel the difference between, I'm not sure that I could put it into words, but internally I could feel the difference between that and something that, you know, might be a little bit more mischievous, or, you know, not such a high frequency, or of a source kind of frequency. And to me, a lot of it is about heart space. So when you're in your heart space and your whole field is love, then really that's all that can come in.
It
is love. So is there more that you do or might suggest for other people to do?
Yeah, I think it's a really, really important point you're making. And for me, it has shifted a lot through my journey, because in the beginning, like when I was really like having this up in my face and being forced to look at it, I had a lot of experiences that was really, really scary to me, and very physical. And so I was more in a mindset of like, okay, I need some type of control of my energy field. I don't know what is coming in. I felt like a victim to it, because in reality, I was like how it looked. And what I now understand, because I don't have those experiences at all now. And I think the most important thing is to know that we are safe in our own energy field, and that we are sovereign beings. So if I would sit down and go into a channeling and I would feel some sort of energy trying to come in that I didn't feel like was of that pure energy and of love, then I don't engage. And if it won't go away, then I would come out of state. I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't make myself accessible for that energy. But that being said, we are made to be open, and we are made to to interact. And the technique I was given from my guides in the channeling was to really, instead of focusing on that we need to protect ourselves, because that's really that contracted state that we were talking about in the beginning, really focus on expanding the heart space and expanding your light. So instead of like, I need something around me to protect me because, you know, someone can do something to me, feel like really just push that energy out, like fill your own space with your own energy. And by that you are safe, because you have filled your own field. Because if you don't feel your own field, then it's easier to come in, right? So to really be in that state of like expanding and being my own light, and really knowing that I'm sovereign and that I'm filling my field, then I don't open in that same way. And also, I mean, we can meet energies that are of lower frequencies, but then don't engage. Like, be really, really clear on it. Like, nope, not engaging with you.
Yeah, I love what you said that, and how you put that, you framed that really, really beautifully. Because when I started and doing readings and stuff, and it was about protection, it was about putting yourself in a bubble of light, which if you're still in that victim kind of place, it will work for you, but it's not a place to stay forever.
Exactly.
It is something to move from. It can work for a while, and recognizing that those, whatever you might be seeing, can be coming from in here as well, from inside. Not necessarily from your heart, but more from solar plexus. It's from our fears that we can see beings. And a lot of the work that I do now is, instead of kind of like banishing things away from me, is actually to bring them into my heart. And that was quite a big jump for me. And it's like, whoa, that's the last place that I want to be bringing them. But actually, and being loving in how we speak to them, how we approach them, and not having a separation of that separate from me. This is part of me, and I welcome you into my heart. And actually, that's a lot of how I deal with pain in my body these days. Instead of just trying to get it out of my body, I breathe it into my heart to transmute it, which is a really different, you know, it's a different approach.
It's the 180, because what we resist persists, because we attach to it and we keep fighting it. And that's so important what you just said. That's key to so many things. Yeah, it is.
Okay, so the time feels right, and I'll hand over to you to start for this, I think. So what we spoke of, and if it, you know, if you're feeling to do something different from this, whatever feels right. But I think we're both on the same page of wanting for people to be in their heart space and not in their solar plexus, so to like lift up from solar plexus. So I'll hand over to you from this point, and then do as you wish, and then I'll bring some codes in, and we can kind of weave together. So
sounds perfect.
Thank you.
So first of all, in line with what we just said, for everyone listening, when we start opening up this field, and we start bringing this information in and the energy in, it's also like all about being sovereign in your field and either say yes or no. So if something does not feel resonant with you, you can just state no, either internally or out loud, and it will not come into your field at all. And what feels resonant, you say yes, and you let it in. So no matter who is doing some sort of energy work or bringing in codes or whatever, like, you're always sovereign and empower of your own field. So for people to, it's really important just to know that you can interact with this as you want yourself. So if you feel comfortable, I invite whether you're on the live or on the replay to just close your eyes and to open yourself to receive, and to really breathe down all the way into your body. And breathing all the way down. And grounding into the earth, imagining that your light and your energy goes all the way into the center of the earth. And bringing that energy back up through your feet, through your legs, through all your energy centers, and all the way up to your higher self and out up in the universe. And to see this energy moving from the universe through your body and into the earth and up again. And what I was being shown was to move the energy from the solar plexus and get more movement into the heart. So what I was explained was that we tend to connect with the earth or connect up to the universe from a bit more of a disconnected place. Like either we connect through our upper energy centers up, or we connect through our lower energy centers down, and to really realize that we can connect through the earth from our heart, and that there's a big shift happening now collectively, where we're moving more energy from our solar plexus and up to our heart. So what I was guided to do is to channel some light language that will help moving this energy. So just stay in your body and just breathe all the way. Really be in your body the whole time and feel whether you feel something in a specific part of your body. Just be really present in your body. You will expand that heart center, breathing in, expanding. Chala hai karati maalani ajeli ni akana akala jakain. Chala harakana lime hacherki ichera chiahatiaka. Chaka ayam ni haka ayinti harachli akai. Chaka lene haka ayam ayaka ay arachla erakti aka ajraka lene haka. Breathing all the way into the earth. Really staying in your body. Feeling your heart space. And I welcome you in, Denise.
Kia le arno kia porno ket at uist diti parnia. Iket anik ugnuket unnuket ot iarnokt ma. Erniki arnoko unnus tutapa nia. Iket lapaket lepete lapaket lapaket tatala. Niket like arnoko titina no kokola. Hon ekite onokoran nikaba nia. Kole ke arana ke ikastora. Oke le hian tearon unta. Hole it la paketele kitata a. Oke le ke arona kukokoto. Ot ana kera le kian tunno. Hol ara niki atono kokost. Hole hera le bearono kotutun. Matatala kietoton. Hol e hian te orduin ikete. Ut opernakete la paketete. Leke todelake. Hier legian todella pano kutititilla paketitita. Ik lepek leara de lade no kutititata. Ik leke gustutititano. Ulekiano kuleano kun. Meke legia tode anada dolla pa. Imnekiara no ko mes tutititata. Kile kiara na kututilla pekara no kutititula. Ule barla nikititilla paketititata paketititata. Le anaya do lebe, ya lokurle, ano do kudle, tadala kidda. Ya stera ni ano ko na yo un, ole ano to, ole ano kiyapa, niki amo todala, mete ano ko, ole stada ana a, un, just really connecting in with the rose lines of earth, the heart lines of earth. Kuili hiaro noi tanana yapon, ile kia noi tano kodle, ne kaborna yetatiana kule, ule kana kule bara nakitila, ukle kano no kushta tata, ile hiantona kia, ile kiana tona kaya noko, huishtayan et oi, ule kian net tutatan, papapat at ayakot on ekishtata. Ele kia lana kunna makia. Ele kio stoi na mai totolea no. Ulaya na tatatata na ko on. Ule kia ranoko tuis an. Ule kia na kia stoi tatatan ikit on. Ule ya. Tototo on na tatata a. And back to you, Kristin, if there's more to share.
So I'm being told to really be in this energy, to drink a lot of water, and to really get this feel of this last energy that was coming in, because it was a really playful and joyful energy, and to remind us that this is really important, as well as we're going forward, and as we're doing this work, because we often tend to be really serious, as we're doing this, and like, what is the right way to do it, and how is this supposed to be, and how have everyone else been doing this, and really play with it, and be in that light-hearted energy, which I think that last energy you brought in was like, I started smiling, because it was like I could see these small beings, that are really funny. I love their energy. And I was just like, I kept being told, like, remember the play, remember the joy, like, being in that frequency, like, don't make it so serious all the time, because we tend to focus on like all the clearing, all the trauma we have to clear, and like everything that is sort of distracting us, or like happening in the collective, and really come back to that like really joyful energy, just like have fun with it, like, yeah. So they kept like saying that this must be emphasized.
Beautiful. Yeah, I don't know if I have anything more to add to that. I'm just trying to take myself back there as well. And there was something about the rose lines being mapped in our bodies too, and it feels like the rose lines on the earth are extending. An image I saw before was almost like the line, and it feels quite kind of wavy, but branching out, like those rose lines, extending out and filling more of the planet. And I feel that's some of the changes that's going on, that the heart lines of Gaia, like there's changes within those, and maybe even within the heart of Gaia as well, like there's that, like, in a similar way to how our hearts are expanding, that perhaps her heart is expanding too.
Yeah.
And I see these networks of lines, almost like veins and capillaries in the body, like that kind of, and like the branches of a tree, like that kind of fractally stuff,
Yeah.
moving out from those original lines. Yeah. Almost like that framework was there already, but it's time for them to be online now.
Yeah.
It's they're being switched on.
Yeah.
And the same within us. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and that's the same with this vision I had yesterday, when I saw the earth, and I saw like the outline of a human body, like just like floating above, like the same size as the earth, like really. And I saw that heart space really being activated, and I saw the center, the core of the earth, and the inner earth, and that the communication was going like directly between those. Yeah, and I think that's really beautiful, and important also to remember that when we connect from our heart space, that's like a whole different frequency than whether it's like in our thoughts, or in our mind, or we have all these like processes of how we're going to do things. Like it's easy now, we can just connect with, we come into our heart space and we can connect into the earth, we can connect to, you know, the galactics, we can connect from person to person in the heart space, and really holding our own truth without abandoning ourselves or giving our power away, but really standing in our field and coming from our heart space.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. That was an absolute pleasure to weave with you there. Thank you.
Thank you, and right back. Really enjoyed that. Yeah. I still see two of you, because like when I'm coming out to a challenge site, I always like it's always unclear and I see like double. Oh.
So do you have anything coming up, and what is your YouTube channel as well, so people can subscribe to that?
Yeah, I would love to see you in there. My YouTube channel is called Heart of Light, and I also have a Facebook page with the same name, Heart of Light. And I am in the process of like I'm being guided to do some light language and sessions with people, and probably also some meditations. So I'm in the process yet of figuring out like how it will look and how I will do it. But I will put the information out in those places when I will do that. So I would love to see people there, and yeah, and hear back from, you know, hear how I really love to have some interaction, like hear what people are experiencing as well, because we're all going through the same things, even though it can be, you know, wrapped in different ways. So I think just sharing things and daring to do that, and having that courage really helps everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Perhaps you could put the links in the comments on the live as well.
Yeah. Super.
And you know, I have subscribed to your YouTube, and you do put a lot of stuff out regularly. So yeah, I highly recommend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you to everybody who's been watching as well. Like, thank you to everyone who's joined us live and on the replay and on YouTube. And thank you, Kristin. And I think I'll just invite us all to bring our awareness back to our heart space. So we end the call as we began. But just feeling into your heart space, you might feel a difference in there. You may feel some expansion. And if any emotions have come up or come up in the next few days following this, I invite you to be with those emotions and allow yourself to feel them as they pass through you. So feeling that connection to Gaia, to the sun, and to Source Creator. As we breathe in love and breathe out love. And thank you. Thank you, one and all. And we will see you soon.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Denise, for having me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you all. We will see you soon. I will stop the live stream now. Love, love.